let's talk about the real things that happened during my first month on Mounjaro. The good, the bumpy, and everything else in between, including how much weight I lost and whether or not Mounjaro is helping me to reverse type 2 diabetes. Hi everyone, my name is Anissa and welcome. I started this new channel to share my voyage to wellness, trying to figure out how I can meet two big goals. Goal number 1, lose 50 pounds. Goal number 2, reverse my type 2 diabetes. And I want to do all of this while still showing up for my family, myself, and still being able to live life. One of the first things that people ask me is about the side effects. So let's go right there. I experienced 2 side effects while I was taking my first month's dose. During the first month, I took the loading dose of Mounjaro, the lowest dose, 2.5 milligrams. I take my shots on Friday around 11 p.m. and go right to bed. What I did was take a anti-nausea medication called Zofran, probably a half hour before I did inject. Then I just tried to go to sleep. What I found was mild insomnia. Now, I don't know if the insomnia was from the Mounjaro or if it was because I was concerned that I would be nauseous. I never experienced nausea. However, I really could only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep for basically the first 4 days after my injection. The second side effect did not show up until a few days later, and this is TMI, but it was constipation. I never have issues with constipation, so this was relatively new for me, and I had to get a game plan together to figure out how to combat this constipation. What I realized after watching other YouTubers talk about their experiences on Mounjaro is that to deal with the constipation for many people, drinking electrolytes and drinking lots of water was helpful. Unfortunately, I am someone who can take a big cup like this full of ice water to work and leave at the end of the day, and it is still full. I just don't have the sensation of being thirsty, and I get busy and I forget to drink. Because Mounjaro slows your digestion, the last thing you want to do is forget to drink because you will experience constipation. The first thing I had to do was to alleviate the constipation and then create a plan to make sure that it didn't happen again. What I did was contact my healthcare provider, and she suggested using a stool softener. So I bought a generic brand of Colase stool softener. And first I just took one with my dinner for a couple of nights, still constipation. Then I tried 2, still constipation. Then I had to try 3. Finally, I was able to use the restroom. Once that happened, I decided to try to drink electrolytes. I was using Element packets and to take 1 stool softener each night with dinner. In addition, I really knew that I needed to drink. That is something that is just so difficult for me because I'm never thirsty. But I had to do it. I had to drink, and what I did was make sure that I kept track of drinking at least 80 ounces per day, and that was not easy. The easiest way for me was I like sparkling water. I like diet soda. So I bought a case of Polar Seltzer, and I've been drinking that. So that and the stool softener and the electrolytes has kept me regular. The next thing I thought I would talk to you about is, did I actually lose any weight? Because one of my major goals is to lose 50 pounds, as I am in the obese category when you mentioned BMI. Part of using Mounjaro instead of another GLP-1 was that it looks like for type 2 diabetics, we have a better weight loss track record on Mounjaro versus some other GLP-1s. And that might be because Mounjaro is a dual agonist. It is a GLP-1 and GIP. My doctor suggested it. I really was only asking about Ozempic, but when I found out that my doctor suggested it and Virta Health, who is the telehealth company that I work with, basically Virta Health is like a virtual clinic. And what they do is personalize your nutrition in such a way that without medication, you can lose weight and reverse type 2 diabetes. It just so happened that if you watch my first video, you'll know my A1C was over 14. Even Virta Health suggested that I take a GLP-1 to help to lower my blood glucose spikes. That's hard to say, blood glucose spikes right away. All of these things are why I chose or accepted my doctor's suggestion of using Mounjaro, really hoping that my weight loss would be accelerated. Because honestly, a few years ago, I lost 50 pounds and I got down to 204 pounds and I just couldn't lose anymore. I never gained, not through holidays, not through vacations, but I didn't lose either. So this Mounjaro is so important to me. I really need it to work. And Mounjaro also is supposed to help with my blood glucose spikes. It's supposed to reduce inflammation so that my insulin resistance isn't as bad as it is. And when those things happen, when your insulin resistance is better and you don't have those blood glucose spikes, apparently that is supposed to help heal your body and let you drop weight. So during the first month, I did lose weight. I was on the lowest dose of Mounjaro, and I was really hoping for a big loss. I didn't get a big loss. I lost 7.3 pounds. However, I am going to choose to lead with joy and positivity. Any weight loss is better than no weight loss. That is a success, and that is how I'm going to look at it. The good thing is that now I'm on a path to kind of getting a routine together, because I feel that if I have a routine that works, I will build a habit that I can sustain throughout my lifetime. Now, they say that 21 days builds a habit. Let's see if it works for me. So in order to reverse type 2 diabetes and lose these 50 pounds, I came up with a few steps that I am using in order to build healthy habits that will help me to reach these two goals. My habit number one is to consistently give myself the Mounjaro injection on Friday nights. Whatever strength or dose that my doctor gives me is the dose that I'll use. So that's step one. Step two is to follow my personalized nutrition plan from Virta Health. And right now, my plan is to have 13 ounces of protein and less than 30 carbs per day. In addition to that, I'm supposed to add healthy fats like olive oil or avocado oil, things like that. I'm still working on that piece. But that gives me two spokes in my wheel. It gives me my medication, and it also is my nutrition. The third spoke is I have to move my body a lot more than I have been doing. I wear an Apple Watch, and when I'm at work, I'm a school counselor, I work in a very big building, and I'm always moving, picking up kids, dropping off kids, and I get a lot of steps in during the school year, but on my Apple Watch, those steps never add up to the green exercise circle, which means I'm really not getting my heart rate up. So I have to be intentional. I subscribed to the Peloton app again, and I have started working out using that app. At home, I do have an exercise bike. I just joined the Y yesterday, and I use the treadmill along with the Peloton app for a treadmill walk, and I've got to tell you, I'm in love with it. I also need to strength train. It is not my favorite thing to do. I really have only done one strength training workout, but I know I need to do more because anytime you're losing significant weight, especially when you're in your 50s like me, you lose muscle. If you lose muscle, you slow your metabolism down. That's the last thing that I need to do. But anyway, I have my medication, I have my nutrition, I have my workout plan, and the last big piece for me is sleep. Especially in the summer, I can really get off schedule because I don't have to get up as early in the morning. My routine is broken. But I have made it a point to get at least 7 hours of good quality sleep. I've lowered the temperature in my room to 67 degrees. I've turned the television off. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I have obstructive sleep apnea, so I do have to use a CPAP machine. My hope and wish is that when I get this 50 pounds off of me, that I will no longer have a sleep apnea diagnosis. Now, moving on to month 2, I started taking 5 milligrams. And in my next video, I am going to share with you an update on my weight loss, whether or not I gained or lost muscle, whether or not the side effects of mild insomnia and constipation were relieved, and if I can continue to lose weight or if I need to titrate up to a higher dose. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and if you are also taking a GLP-1 or considering taking GLP-1, please leave me a comment. Tell me what medication and what dose you're on and how long you've been in it and if it's working for you. Thanks. Bye-bye.